Okay, hi everybody. Well, I started the first part of this video last night, um, and I'm doing this video right now, September 21st today is. So I started it last night on the 20th. There may be a delay in when I upload this video. I usually try to do them now a couple days beforehand when I get in that energy because there's so much I want to share with people and go over and kind of clarify. Um, because there's a lot of confusion out there, I think, too. So I did start the video last night, and I got interrupted, and then I had all kinds of distractions after that. So I will add to it, and so that's why it is now the next day. So I will continue. I want to bring up some bullet points real quick, and then I'm going to go into prophecy and talk about how it's related to Nostradamus, also the Bible, because there's a lot of prophecy that Nostradamus had. Some of his prophecies were in the Old Testament of the Bible. Um, and a lot of prophecy that has happened with Nostradamus has come to fruition. And I'll explain that and when I get into it, okay? So bear with me here. I've been feeling some very interesting energies. Last night it came through some really heaviness. I feel I'm feeling some things that are coming that will occur. But first, I want to clarify a couple of little bullet points real quick. Third dimension, third density is a polarized density dimension. It's physical as well. What does that mean? Polarized, it means opposites. Good, evil, dark, light, black, white, uh, whatever, opposites. So we have the high happiness, sadness, joy, depression, whatever. There's the opposites, okay? So third density is that to experience both of those polarities. Those are polarities. Now, it is also a choice dimension. So what does that mean? Density is choice. It is a dimension where you come, density or level, that you come into self-awareness and self-consciousness, okay? You become aware of who you are as an individual to experience those lessons when you are in this density, and then come to a choice when you get toward the end of that grade. Doesn't mean that in one lifetime, could be hundreds of lifetimes in third density, but you get to that point where you start to choose, do you want service to self or service to others, okay? And then when you graduate, you leave this density altogether and you move into fourth density, which is love, okay? Love of self, love of others. And then you choose, before you do go into that density, fourth density, or that level, whether you're going to be fully dark or fully light, or negative, positive, or if you're going to be you could say service to self or service to others, okay? Because it's all creator. So you leave the physical altogether. You do not go into another, you drop, how do I say this? You drop those, if you're going to stay with positive polarity, you drop the negative emotions. You stay in the light, you stay in the love, okay? Love of others, service to others. If you're going to be a negative planet, then you will be polarized completely to the negative. And there will be those, yes, there are those who, there are many groups. There have been groups of the Greys, there have been groups of the reptilians, there have been groups of, there's other groups that I'm not naming, but there are. And so it's a purpose is to, like I said, choose and then move forward, okay? I hope that clarifies a little bit. The other thing is the third density is a lesson in this physical realm, okay? So it's a lesson that we experience. It's to help you get connected back to Creator, back to God, back to Source, back to that light, if that's what you're choosing, or it's the connection to your service to yourself to serve the creator that way. Okay, so that's the connection. That is that connection, that choice that we have to make. Now, one thing I will say is as the light increases on this planet, so does the darkness. The reason is there has to be a balance because we are in third density, third dimension. There has to be a balance in both polarities. So as the light energy increases, so does the darkness, okay? And the more light shows, the more darkness shows. It gets people to choose which direction they will go. If they do not choose and they're not ready to move to the fourth density negative or fourth density positive, then they will leave the physical just like everybody else, leave the third density, and they will go into another third density life on another planet, or it's a reincarnation process. Okay. Um, so I hope that clarifies. The other thing is we are entering this tribulation time, this very chaotic time that we're reaching right now. It is to push things to the extreme. It is to push things and challenges because many are still undecided. There are still some people on this planet who are still on the fence of where they want to go. Okay, so they either could choose negative polarity or complete positive polarity. So they're positive energy or negative energy, okay? They're still on that fence. So it's a push to learn these experiences or experience them to choose what they want. Also, there are lessons that still have to be learned by many that have come here, incarnated here, both star seeds who are still, some of them are still doing their missions, and those and the physical and those of humanity who will have that choice, okay, to choose. Now, so during this time, yes, there will be some people. I have mentioned a first shift wave of going, okay? There will be some people, yes, that will stay after this. Volunteers and starseeds, light workers, some of them will continue to help others that that are going to go through some of these difficult times, because it will increase in the amount of activity and chaos. Like I said, the more light that increases, the more the darkness increases too. There is a lot of darkness on this planet. There, like I said, there was an invasion about 3,600 years ago or so from the Orion, a negative Orion group, which were fourth density, fifth density, and it came here and they influenced humanity through their own means. Um, so you have that choice. You have that choice in this density, what to choose from. Okay. Now, um, I know some people have gotten a little bit confused about when we do leave, we will just disappear. It's like physical death, okay? How do I explain that? It's like like I said in the first part of my video, that how did they word that? It will be tailored to each person. So let's say somebody might see themselves leaving in their sleep, okay? Their soul just leaves the physical body. Whether their body stays behind as, how do I say, the physical body lays there and just dies, or whether it just dissolves, because this has happened before, and I'll explain this, um, during ascension a few times in Earth's history. Um, so it depends on the person, okay? Depends on which experience that you're choosing. Some will be, most people will just leave, okay? They will leave the physical body behind. You're not taking the physical body behind. It's not meant to. Um, and we're not meant to stay in this space, time of this physical earth, okay? We are not meant to. This earth will go into like Mars is. Mars used to be also inhabited, okay? But it also finished and finalized its existence about 500,000 years ago. Okay, Mars became ended as well. So that is the same thing with Earth. Earth will also experience that because Mother Gaia, her soul, is moving on as well. She is leaving. And when a soul leaves a physical body, what happens? The physical body does perish, okay? Um, if you look at it in those terms, it's a little bit easier to understand. So I hope that makes sense. Because it is confusing, because I know there's been a lot of people out there talking about how it's going to be this way or going to be that way. Um, we have to use discernment. I expect people to use discernment in my videos. I don't expect, you know, uh, you have to follow what's in your heart. I follow what's in my heart. I feel the when I communicate with beings of love, I feel that love in my heart. I feel that unconditional love. When I speak with Sananda or Jesus, that I feel it's so much love. It feels amazing, and I can feel it going through me. And when I hear the information coming through from either my star family or Sananda, I feel that love. I feel those messages. I hear them, and I feel it. A lot of, and I'm not going to point, and I don't want to, you know, say other people are wrong. I'm not. They're right in their way. Their beliefs. They will experience it the way they see it. Um, I I do know, though, there are many who have been, how do I say, who have been channeled in beings that have been, uh, how do I say, tricking people. And because I will explain one thing, I'll explain. There are negative groups who want to control us, who want to keep us locked in this matrix, who want us to keep us locked in this physical reality. And the longer we stay, the longer they control, okay? Um, that's not our purpose. That is not the purpose of ascension. So they will tell others and tell people, yes, we have to stay. We do, that's keeping you trapped in this matrix, this existence. It was set up purposely that way, like a computer program, just like the Matrix movies. It's very similar. It's like a computer grid. It keeps people trapped in this grid, and they can control the outcomes, okay? So let me go into my next topic, which is prophecy, because it has a lot to do with things that are happening, okay? So let me get to that. Sorry, I got to get to, here we go. Okay, so first of all, I will put a link in the description box, but this is what I want to talk about. I want to talk about, and I'm not sure how long this video will be. I already see I don't want to go over 30 minutes with the first part of my video, which was 9 minutes or so. So I might have to break it into two different videos. Um, so anyway, so what I want to talk about is prophecy, how it's related to Nostradamus, and there are in the Bible, there are other prophecies that have been put out there as well. What is a prophecy? A prophecy is something that has been a future experience or event that has been foretold, okay, prior to its manifestation. Now, that doesn't mean that it's going to happen. It just means that based on the reactions and the actions of the civilization, these are the events that will unfold, okay? I have mentioned in a video Project Looking Glass. In that, one of my videos, prior videos, if you check it out, Project Looking Glass was something that the military and something that they were using to try and calculate the odds of what future events will happen based on if we do this, what how will it tailor to create this a future event, okay? The darkness, those who are of the negative polarity use these a lot. They use these, okay? And I will explain how Nostradamus did it. Now, I'm referencing a Dolores Cannon series of books called Conversations with Nostradamus. I highly recommend it. There's a lot of information on there, a lot of information in these three-part book series, okay? Nostradamus, okay, first I'll explain something. I will use the link and I will give you a link to that book because I highly recommend it because it talks about a lot of prophecies that are prophesized coming into this future that we're going into. Uh, it, a lot of these prophecies he put out there are coming to truth. They are happening. As well as some of his prophecies, like I said, were in the Old Testament, okay, of Bible. Um, some of the book of Revelations and it depends on how you it depends on how you read and read into it and uh, how you understand, okay, because book of Revelation, some other prophecies in the Bible are just like Nostradamus, are kind of tricky to understand, okay, so you really have to understand what's being said. Okay, so Nostradamus in the book, he was living in the 1500s. He's from France. Okay, his name is, and I'm not French. I don't speak French, but it was Michael du Notre Dame. Notre Dame. Okay, but they called him Nostradamus. He practiced medicine. He was a doctor. Much of his practice, he was able to see future cures for diseases that he used in the 1500s. He also used what people might call it psychic surgery. He was able to help do this for people. It's been documented. He very interesting person. So he had students that he taught. He wrote his prophecies in quatrains, it's called. Quatrains are like worded where he used a little bit of Latin and he used a little trickery in that because he was living in the time of the Inquisition. Inquisition was when the church, anybody that did not believe in the church were considered heresy and heretics, and they would murder them or kill them or execute them. So he had to be very careful how he worded things. And so a lot of people that tried to translate his prophecies did not get it correct, okay? So when they contacted through Dolores Cannon in her book, used a client to go back, okay, they were able to, they were able to, how do I say? They were able to go back and connect with him, okay, through her client. She did a hypnosis regression, is what Dolores Cannon used. It's QHHT, qualitative hypnosis healing technique, okay? And so what she did was she would be able to regress that person to connect with him. Now, I'm going to explain how it was done. They actually connected with Nostradamus's physical self. He was able to connect with the other side, other dimensions. Now you say, well, how is that possible? Because he died already, because the 1500s have passed. Yes, they did. But this is how many of the timelines have changed so much to be tailored to those who are of the negative group. They were able to change events by going back in time, which still can be done because time is not linear in this universe. Time is in a circular pattern, okay? So if you reach that center point in the middle of that circle, you can go at any point you want. When you have that technology, you can reach to any point that you want to go back in time or in the future, and you can change things. So that's what they've done on this planet numerous times to change the outcome to what they wanted it to happen. That was part of Project Looking Glass. Also, it was part of back in the 1500s with the church, with the Vatican, with other groups that got the technology to do that. They used also the Orion group, the negative Orion group, to do this. How did Nostradamus do this? He had come across this. He didn't know what it was. It was, okay, I'll explain what it looked like. It looked like an oval-shaped mirror almost, okay? On one side of the mirror was a milky white color. The other side of the mirror was just black. That was it. One side, whoever he connected to when he went into this, he could see, he could put himself in this, like, it's like, if somebody looks at like a crystal ball, but it was different. It was a technology that was created. Uh, it was more of an ancient technology he came across. Okay, he came across this mirror. And so one side of whoever he was communicating could see through that other side, and he could see through. So it was like looking, he was looking in it, and the other person was looking this way. So they were looking at each other, okay? When he did this, when Dolores Cannon in the book was able to connect with him, she was able to connect with his physical self, okay? So when they did this, they were talking with his physical self, okay, in the 1500s. So she asked a lot of questions like, how do we know that your prophecies could they not come true? Could they come true? And he said, based on, which is to say, like I said, based on the actions of humanity does, the decisions they make, it will either make those prophecies happen or they don't. So if humanity were to change their big decisions and actions, those prophecies could be null and void. Many of them wouldn't happen. But when these books were made, these big decisions that humanity was playing were still going to make those prophecies come true. And he was able to tell through the client, yes, indeed, these prophecies will continue coming true, okay? Now, so the meeting point, like I said, time is a circular, okay? You can go, the negative groups use this technology. They came across it as well, and they were able to, especially the Orion negative reptilians and negative Orion groups, who use this to influence timelines. Now, the one thing that they cannot control and they cannot change is ascension. When a planet reaches their graduation from that density, they cannot change the outcome. They cannot change it because that's based on creator, God, source. That cannot be changed, because the reason is it doesn't matter what decision, you still graduate to the next density, the fourth density, whether you're going to be negative or positive, okay? So everybody has that choice. You cannot take that free will choice away from people. They can change the timeline in certain events, but the final outcome cannot be changed. Okay, so what do I want to I'll talk about this. The way they use it now to manipulate this timeline is they use the media. And we all know that. The mainstream media or any media creates scenarios purposely, like, oh, there's another, a race issue, or it's another, so-and-so was shot by a white police officer, or a black man shot a white person, whatever it is. They do this to manipulate, to create the reaction out of humanity. That's how they're able to tailor the events to happen to what they want to happen, okay? So they've been tailoring it so well because the media influences so many people. It may not influence you or myself. You may stand back as an observer, but there are many, many people who are still following this rhetoric and this certain agenda that's being put out there, okay? So that still happens. There was always a choice through this ascension. When we get to this graduation, you can either go the easier route where humanity comes together and brings unity together, and then they can graduate and ascend and leave this physical realm and move on to a higher dimension. Or you can take the bumpier route, okay? Which means you play into those who are creating the darkness, who are creating the events to tailor. They know they need humanity for that. That's why they keep people trapped in there because they still believe their agenda will play out the way they want. They're still going to do as much as they can to create what they want because they're scared. They have fear. Their fear is of leaving this physical realm. They're fearful of all their actions that they've done. They're afraid of that light. They're afraid to go beyond this physical realm. So that's why they keep people trapped in here because they need that they need a large enough group of people to create the events to happen, okay? Now, there was one other thing I wanted to talk about, and now I just forgot. Prophecy. So humanity can continue to be manipulated by the media and continue doing that, okay? In his prophecies, he talked about a lot of what would come. He talked about the destruction. He talked about these earthquakes. He talked about the technology. Nostradamus did about he actually saw the computers and internet even before he didn't know what it was in the 1500s. And he saw it in our future. He says that he called them the cabal. He did call them the cabal, the Illuminati cabal, that would control that internet, control that media, control that to tailor the events to what they wanted. Okay, I was going to give, and I can't pause this either, but I can add to it, so I might do that real quick. Okay, so I remember what I was going to talk about. So I had mentioned that when there's an ascension, this has happened in the past civilizations where they just disappeared. I'll give you some examples. The Mayans. The Mayan civilization disappeared right off the face of the earth. When they ascended, their physical bodies left their physical. How do I say? They left their soul. Their soul left the physical body, and the physical body disappeared. Literally, they found no other. How do I say? Artifacts, or I should say skeletons, or what's left over from the Mayan civilization. They never found any of that. They found some of the pyramids and things that they used in Central and South America, but that's it. Jesus, okay, Jesus's body did ascend. The physical body had disappeared as well. Those were the accounts at that time that was recorded. And that would be another example. Another example, there was a few monks, and there was one article, and I'm going to try to find that article again, but I read an article about a monk, okay, in Tibet, in the Himalayas. And this was many years ago, but he was practicing meditation every day. He was practicing connecting to the universe, connecting to try and ascend out of the physical body without going through the death process. So 3 days before his departure, a rainbow appeared in the sky. 3 rainbows. I believe it was 3 rainbows, okay? When the day he left, the day he ascended, there were witnesses that actually saw him. He was in his meditation or his room. They saw his body completely just disappeared. It just they said it turned into a bright rainbow colored light, and then it just lit up, and then it was like they saw this ball of light shoot up, and then the body disappeared. So this monk did this, okay? 7 days after he left, there was 3 rainbows again in the sky that lasted for 7 days. So there are these incidents that happen. There are civilizations that has happened. In Atlantis, this happened. There were a group of them that did also leave the physical. They left, and their bodies also left as well. So these are the examples that I wanted to mention. Okay, so real quick, um, I'm happy to answer more. I'm not going to go into Nostradamus's prophecies unless people want me to talk about it in another video, and I can share some of his prophecies and give some examples. I don't want to make this video too long, so I'm not going to include that in this, but I can do a separate one for that if people want to me to talk about some of his prophecies. I'm fascinated by it because a lot of it has come true in his prophecies. Um, and so please, I will leave the link in the description box for Dolores Cannon, the Conversations with Nostradamus books. Um, and I appreciate you. I love you all. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting. Please subscribe if you haven't. Please check out my other videos. Please like and share this video. I greatly appreciate it. And until next time, we will see you again soon. Thank you. Much love.